Good afternoon. My name is Kira Porteous, and I'll be your MC for this portion of the Farming Smarter Conference. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the conference committee for allowing 4-H to be a part of your program. I am currently in my 7th year of 4-H and a senior member in the Generations of Tomorrow 4-H Club, based out of Bow Island. Our club's focus has been to help instill leadership qualities into our members. With that focus, our projects have been based around helping the community while learning how to plan and complete an event from start to finish. Every month, our members plan an event that helps the community become better. Examples of which we have participated in are the Medicine Hat Daffodil Project, planting the garden for the Medicine Hat Food Bank, packing 600 lunches for the Brown Bag Lunch Program, and providing a Christmas games and meal for the Wellington Retirement Center. What the members from our club have learned from these experiences are invaluable. As part of 4-H, we learn how to run proper business meetings, which entail having board members. I have participated in each one of these positions, as well as holding positions in our Cactus Country District Junior Council. I am currently a key member, which acts as a role model for the upcoming members. I have taken part in numerous camps and programs such as Club Week, CIT, counseling as a counselor at Elkwater Regional Camps, and selections in the spring. A highlight of my 4-H involvement was competing at the highest level of public speaking, the Alberta Provincial Speak-Offs. I have planned to attend Olds College in the Commerce Management Diploma in the fall. 4-H has truly benefited my life and who I will become. I can tell you on behalf of all of the members that 4-H is not an experience, it is a way of life. The first speaker I would like to introduce is Abby Slorstad. She was 14 when competing at the regional competition last year. She is currently in her 7th year and now a senior member in the Dusty Plains 4-H Multi-Club, not including 2 Cleaver years in Cleaver Horse. Since her first year of 4-H, she has participated in the Beef Breeding Project with her commercial Black Angus cows every year, as well as the Horsemanship Project. She also has had a dressage horse project for the past 2 years and is currently a level 6 rider. Her favorite part about 4-H is how it has helped her to expand her knowledge in the different aspects of agriculture and public speaking, as well as it gives her the opportunity to meet people who share the same passion as her. In 3 years, she hopes to attend the University of Calgary to pursue her dream of becoming a large animal veterinarian. Please welcome Abby and her presentation, The Thunder of Hooves and Gunfire.
Thank you for the introduction, Kira, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. World War I was a war of technological innovation with aircraft, tanks, and poison gas being used in battle for the first time. But behind this modern machinery stood the humble horse, providing the backbone to vast logistical operations of armies on both sides. By November 1918, half the British Army's horses were in France, while the others were spread across the Balkans, Middle East, Egypt, Italy, and the United Kingdom. Horses had 4 main roles in World War I. Supply horses and mules were used to transport ammunition, general supplies, and ambulances. Riding horses carried soldiers behind or even in the front line. Teams of gun horses pulled artillery pieces that weighed as much as a taxi. Cavalry horses were also still used and had great mobility and speed. They were deployed alongside tanks and aircraft where they were expected to break through the front lines where the slow tanks could not. They also provided important mobile firepower. By November 1918, nearly 19,000 men served in the remount department of the British Army. They prepared horses to be sent to war across 3 continents and were responsible for the purchasing and training of mules and horses as remounts. Each 1,000 men infantry battalion had a transport section of 20 men who looked after the riding horses and supply horses. Ships were vulnerable and were frequent targets of the German Navy, sending thousands of animals to the bottom of the sea. They were hoisted down from the ships using rope and a belt around their belly or a ramp if available. Over 1,300 officers served as veterinary surgeons, and more than 27,000 men served in the Army Veterinary Corps. The hospitals in France received 725,000 animals and successfully treated 3/4 of them. A typical horse hospital could treat any 2,000 animals at one time. In very muddy conditions, it could take up to 12 hours to clean the horses and their equipment. The hospitals treated wounds such as bullet and shrapnel wounds, skin diseases, and cracked hooves. On average, the British Army lost 15% of its horses each year. Surprisingly, just 1/4 of horse deaths were caused by enemy action. The biggest kill factor being debility, an exposure to the elements, hunger, and illness. The battlefield was a very frightful place, with the rattling and clicking of tank tracks, the continuous sound of gunfire, the feeling of the earth shaking and rumbling beneath you as several bombs dropped to the ground, the hum of airplanes, and the constant scream of dive bombs and men, all at the same time, non-stop. Imagine what the horses thought. They had no idea what was going on, yet they still marched out onto the battlefield, carrying ammunition and soldiers, and pulling artillery pieces and ambulances through knee-deep mud and barbed wire. The battlefield was always muddy, and it was mostly due to the massive amount of artillery used. Horses would get stuck while pulling and carrying their loads, taking a toll on their joints. They would be caked in so much mud that it led to the massive amount of skin diseases and joint problems among the war horses. When the end of the war was finally declared in 1918, millions of soldiers looked forward to going home, but the horses and mules faced a far less certain future. Only horses that were owned by British officers were guaranteed to return to England. The fate of the rest of the Army's horses depended on age and fitness. A horse's life was measured by mere weeks, and by war's end, 8 million horses and mules had died. Some didn't even make it back to England alive. The healthiest and youngest animals were brought back to the UK. 25,000 remained in the Army, while more than 60,000 were sold to farmers. Soldiers recalled the horses collapsing from panic on the ships and then being trampled by the other horses. Horses and mules were sold to farmers for an average price of £37, or around 63 Canadian dollars. The oldest and most worn out horses were sent to slaughter for meat and were priced at about £19, or 33 Canadian dollars. A necessary move when severe food shortages hit Europe after the war. But the role of horses was not forgotten. The Old Blacks, a team of 6 gun horses who survived the entire war, were chosen to pull the carriage of the unknown soldier to mark the armistice in 1920. A handful of others, like Santoy and Roger, were sold to a stable owned by the Horse Trust. It was said that Santoy never missed a single day's duty through both the Boer campaign and the Great War. Working so well and to the grand age of 28, his officers were keen to see him live out his retirement years in comfort. Roger's story was also truly remarkable. Roger, thought to have been a German officer's charger, was found wandering riderless in no man's land during the infamous Battle of the Somme, like Joey from the movie War Horse. A British officer captured Roger and got him to safety. Roger then served as that officer's mount for the next 2 years, getting him out of several tight spots on the battlefield. After the war, the grateful officer then brought Roger back to England and paid for him to enjoy a quiet retirement at the home of rest for horses. The most famous war horses, though, was definitely Warrior. Warrior carried General Jack Seeley of the Canadian Cavalry throughout the horrors of World War I. The first time General Seeley rode Warrior through shellfire is at the Battle of Mons. He was surprised that Warrior did not try to run away, and instead the thoroughbred was pretending to be brave. Warrior's loyalty to General Seeley was so strong that he even began to follow him around like a faithful dog. Warrior managed to survive several near-death experiences, such as when a sniper missed him by inches and hit the horse he was touching noses with. And when the cottage he was stabled at was bombed, he miraculously emerged from the rubble. Warrior lived until 1941 to the age of 33. He is also posthumously awarded Top Medal for Animal Gallantry. Horses are often the overlooked heroes when it comes to the war, but without the mobility, speed, and transportation that they provided, armies would have suffered greatly. From the strong and powerful gun horses and supply horses to the witty and swift cavalry horses, they all provided so much help. They fought for a nation too and deserve to be remembered alongside the soldiers. If you would like to learn any more information about the role of horses in World War I, these are the references I used. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. The next speaker I'd like to introduce is Lucy Wolf. Lucy is 11 years old and is a current member of the Del Bonita 4-H Club. This is Lucy's 4th year in 4-H, where she's been in numerous projects, including horse, sheep, foods, and crafts. She loves the entire 4-H program and is excited for more years to come. Please welcome Lucy and her speech, I'm Starting to Panic.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, he's gonna buck, I'm gonna get hurt. He doesn't like this, I just want off. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Fear. It is a basic human emotion meant to protect us. How it works. We sense danger and our brains react and sends a signal to our nervous system, which gives us a bunch of physical responses, like a fast heart rate, which then gives extra blood to our muscles that gets us ready to run, fight, and sometimes freeze. We all have fears. Sometimes it comes from a surprise, like a balloon popping or somebody jumping out at you. But today I'm talking about a fear coming from an event. When I was 6 years old, I loved to go riding. So my dad asked me if I wanted to go on a ride. So I'm like, sure. So we got ready and we're a little ways down the road when my dad's horse started being bad, like really bad. She kept getting worse and worse. We finally came to a spot on the road where we could either turn back and go home or keep going. I wanted to turn back. My dad wanted to keep going. He sort of just ignored me. So as he turned his horse kicked me while I was on my horse. And I fell off and I was hanging on and my dad was yelling, "Let go of her," but not in that voice. And so my dad, once I let go, my dad told me to stand up and walk to him. So I stood up, but I could not walk. So my dad found my mom, but my mom couldn't find us. So when she finally did, she took me to the hospital where I found out I had broken my leg. Most of you listening today might have something you're afraid of, maybe because of a surprise or an event. Some common fears include germs, dogs, being alone, storms, and public speaking. My fears are riding horses or falling off. I was terrified. I felt all alone. I felt like I was the only person this afraid of something. The rest of my family would ride horses. I would get on because I wanted to ride, but I would have to get off because I was so afraid. I couldn't even think I was so afraid. So my mom tried talking to me, and she tried yelling. My dad tried talking. He also tried yelling. They even sent my sister out to talk to me. So have you ever been told, "It's okay, everything will be fine"? Did those things help you? They didn't help me, but these are some of the things that people taught me that really did help me. The first one is, when you start to panic, take 3 deep breaths slowly. This helps because it sends a signal to your brain, calm down, relax, sort of like tricking it. 2, take it step by step. My mom and dad got Leanna to come to my house twice a week to give me lessons. I learned to trust her, and she let me do things at my own speed. 3, I taught myself positive talk. Instead of thinking scary or bad things, I'd think good things about my horse. Remember those pesky nerve systems turning fear into fast heart rate? This helps to send a message to your brain, calm down, relax. I still get afraid when I ride. I still have times when I just want off. But I love my horse so much, and I've learned we all have fears, and it's okay to feel afraid. It also feels really good to ride your horse and not panic the entire time you're riding. Remember in the beginning of my speech, you heard some of the things that happened inside my head. I would like to leave you with things that I try to tell myself. I can do this. We're okay. He's just looking at that horse. I can do this. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do this.
Thank you, Lucy. I'd like to take a moment to remind you of the silent and live auctions taking place later today. Please stop by and take a look at the items being sold. This live and silent auction from today helped us support our regional events, such as our consumer decision-making event, our judging workshops, and 2 $500 scholarships that go towards our members. Thank you for your support going towards 4-H. On behalf of all the 4-H members today, we appreciate the invitation to be involved in your conference and to share our public speaking skills enhanced by 4-H. Thank you.